Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. I thought I'd just do a very quick update video today on how we're getting on with our kitchen extension and some news of some major changes that we've made. Now, the moral of this story, I guess, is something that I've advocated all along, and for us this wasn't massively something we did by choice because we were just taking our time with our extension because we were doing a lot of the work ourselves and we were also saving money to pay for it as we went. So it meant that it was a slow process and we lived in our kitchen before we finalised where we were going to put everything. But the key lesson from this is that we've made some major changes along the way, and all the time until we'd got to this point, perhaps the past week, every single kind of incarnation of the design that we came up with, I felt like we were compromising. There was always something where I just said, oh well, I guess we'll have to live without that. But we finally managed to work out a way of getting everything that we want in and really maximising the use of the space. So it's been a really exciting week. It's also involved some extra work, which has delayed the project again slightly longer, but ultimately I think if we hadn't done this and we hadn't made these changes, then in a couple of years' time we probably would have been actually making them or just sitting there pretty unhappy about what we'd got. So the first major change that we've made is once the kitchen designer sent the plans back, we looked at it, and although we were working with quite a big space, it was a bit of a strange space in some ways, and so it was really difficult to fit everything in and make it flow nicely. And we looked at it and we all just kind of went, ugh, and just didn't quite feel like it was the exact solution that we wanted. We loved the layout, but we just felt like we needed a little bit more space in the room. So what we've decided to do is we actually had already put up the wall for the utility room, but once we looked at it, we thought that the utility room was bigger than we needed, and the kitchen space itself wasn't quite allowing us to do everything that we needed. So we've decided to actually reduce the size of the utility room. We've taken that wall down, put it back up. It's been a kind of tricky little scenario to work out because we've been factoring in moving the hallway, an understairs cupboard, obviously access into these rooms from the kitchen and the hallway, but we've worked it all out, a little bit of a couple of evenings of measuring, and we're there and we've made it work and made it flow. And what it means is we gain about 50 centimetres in the kitchen, which is almost the depth of, you know, a work surface, and that allows us just to bring everything back. The space marries up much better and we've got ample room for dining and for the leisure space as well. So we're really happy. But another thing that's meant that we can do is we can get plenty of work surface space within the kitchen. So before we were compromising a bit on that, it just didn't quite sit easily, but by creating this bigger space we can push the fridge to the side. We still have our nice work triangle and it's all really close together, the sink, the fridge and the hob, but it means that we've also got a nice bit of decent workspace, and somewhere over to the side where we also push all those things that often end up cluttering up your workspace, like your kettle, you know, your toaster, and have a bit of a breakfast bar, butler bar kind of area, which seems to work really well. What I was really happy about as well is that we could push the hob and the ovens out of the way of the main walkway, and so if you were doing any kind of cooking and hot work, then you could not be causing any hazards to anyone around you. Another major win from the changes that we've made is a space that was previously going to be an understairs hallway cupboard is now actually going to be part of the kitchen, and we're going to have that as a walk-in larder. So that means we can store floor to ceiling in there, all of our dry goods, and then that frees up the cupboard space in the kitchen itself for utensils, for crockery and for cutlery and so on. So we've got really nice amount of storage in our kitchen, and that is obviously something that people really regret if they don't get right. Where we've now put the hob, that's in a perfect spot to link up with the ventilation. We've had that planned from the start. Ventilation, as you will know if you're a regular viewer of this channel, is something that we're pretty hot on in this house. So we've got a really good ventilation system all ready to go. Something we forgot in our last kitchen design that we were really determined to get right this time is having enough space for recycling and the bins, and so by moving the fridge over to the edge, which we've done in this now, we've got that space right near the door where we can include all of our recycling, our food recycling and our bins as well, and tuck them away nicely in the cupboard, which means there's not the odour in the kitchen, and it's never that nice having a bin on display in the kitchen anyway, so we're happy with that. Another thing we've been thinking about a lot now that we're in the space is what flooring would work best in the room. Now, I'm not a massive fan of tiles just because we've got young children and I think they're not that forgiving if you fall on them and so on. So we've been looking more at some kind of wood-like solution anyway. One of the things I found when I was researching flooring for kitchens is that people that have had laminate flooring in their kitchen, if they are likely to be not the cleanest or driest people in the world, particularly people with dogs and so on, have found that the laminate, because it's not completely waterproof, does actually start to spoil after a couple of years. So it doesn't seem like the most hardy solution. So I think we'd be more likely to go down the vinyl route. What I'm also really happy about the new plan is that we've got ample space for the leisure seating down the end. So that's going to be really nice. We can work that well with the dining table, and we've got enough space within the kitchen for several people to be sitting down at the same time. And obviously now we've sorted out exactly where everything's going to go, we can really nail that lighting down. So we're going to look at our overhead lighting, our spot lighting and our accent lighting. These are supposedly the 3 types of lighting that it's good to have in your kitchen. So we can actually go and choose some lighting now and make sure that every zone in the kitchen works in the way we want it to do. Oh, and one final tip that someone gave me recently that was really good. Once we'd worked out exactly where everything was going in our kitchen, they said imagine that you open all of the drawers and all of the cupboards and all of the doors in your kitchen at the same time and see what kind of clashes that creates. Now, in an ideal world, you won't have any clashes at all, but if there are some, you want to make sure they're not in critical areas where you are likely to need to open those things at the same time. So that's just a bit of an update. If you enjoyed this video, as ever, please give it a thumbs up. If you're interested in following our renovation and extension project in general, it's a bit of a slow process, but please do hit the subscribe button and the bell button, and you'll be sure to stay up to date and come back very soon. But that's all for today. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.